Hi everybody, Puffin here. Thanks for watching the channel. Today was the day, or one of the days, of the second impeachment of Donald Trump. And it was also a day, maybe second or third day, of the news that whoever the actress was who played Cara Dune in The Mandalorian was fired for her social media posts whining about Republicans being treated like the Jews in the Holocaust instead of Republicans being like the Nazis in the Holocaust, which is the more apt analogy. So I wanted to to tip my Chewbacca hat to the Star Wars fans for helping support the decision to fire her. I kind of, I enjoyed the show mostly, but I kind of was rankled by her being in it from just knowing that she was more of a Trumper all along. So glad at least that they fired her. I don't know what being fired from a show they're no longer making means, but just that they won't work with her again. So, and while these people complain about cancel culture, the reason I mentioned this in terms of the Trump impeachment is because they were complaining about cancel culture and censorship as they saw it in the defense of Trump. When I happened to turn on the radio, the defense was doing their closing arguments, finishing up their closing arguments. So that's the part I heard, trying to act like his free speech was threatened. And the truth is, it's not covered. Like being riotous and all this stuff, like inciting violence, is not covered in free speech. And all this conspiracy stuff is what he's being charged for. And as far as, platforms, these platforms, Twitter's banned me for 8 years, which I've complained about before. I have no idea why, 8 or 9 years, and they don't even tell me why. So, like, nobody was complaining on my behalf. It's just kind of like, stop complaining for these people being deplatformed. And if you're whining about cancel culture, it's probably because you have beliefs or say things that you know you'll get canceled for, because deep in your heart, you know they're wrong. I mean, it's just fascism. Like, the idea is, oh, even the lawyer for Trump threatened, well, how will you guys like it if we turn this around and do it to you guys? And it's like, well, you can threaten all you want, but the real point is stop the worst of what people do and get the worst of this stuff out of there and show some consequences for people being the worst, like white supremacists and fascists. Show some consequences to them so that it turns other people around and they're not like that anymore. But anyway, today is a day to celebrate that they are impeaching Trump and hopefully will convict him, but also that all these arguments and the vote and everything are, part of the historical record, and what they're trying to say, trying to complain that he's being censored and it's a First Amendment, a free speech issue, when it's just not a free speech issue. And then trying to make comparisons between people promoting Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter protesters and supporting this insurrection effort. They're just not the same thing. Not only are they not the same thing, they were met completely differently. The insurrection was met with various levels of compliance and assistance and some resistance, but a lot of compliance and resistance, people working inside, people taking the people on tours, including congressmen and congresswomen, or as I call them, Congress traders, taking people on tours, and all this type of pre-planning, this orchestration, which they're trying to use that as a defense, saying because there was pre-orchestration of this, Trump could not, Trump's not responsible for telling them to go. And it's like, no, it's like he was responsible in the pre-orchestration as well, and responsible for the and now go part of it, and that's all part of the same process and the same crimes. Also, they're charging Trump with crimes for trying to influence the election in Georgia. So criminal charges against Trump, which I saw on the Daily Moth news today, that they were, which is a really good news outlet, they were, the Daily Moth is news for deaf people, so it's very concise and direct, and they have subtitles if you don't speak sign language, so they'll, if you don't use sign language, they have subtitles that you can read at the bottom. So it's very direct and to the point. So I definitely recommend the Daily Moth, and they do, like a 5-10 minute news segment every day. So on there, I saw the news of the charges that they're laying against Trump. Now, the one thing they didn't include was how many years in prison these charges would carry with them. But they did have him charged with like racketeering even and conspiracy. So some pretty serious charges for trying to influence the election in Georgia. So more stuff like that will come out, like criminal charges. This Senate trial is different. It's like a political trial. But it's interesting to hear their arguments. It's interesting that they're going to force people to vote, and that's going to be part of the historical record. But this was a tip of the hat to the impeachment managers and everybody involved in going forward with the impeachment. Thank you all. And a tip of the hat to the Star Wars fans for, putting the pressure and showing that we as a fan base have good intentions and good hearts and won't put up with this fascist bullshit. Sorry, with this, these lies from modern day fascists and Nazis trying to flip the script, trying to act like they're the ones who are persecuted somehow, that we can't call for insurrection, oh no, boo-hoo. So, like, let's not buy that stuff and, go full force with this on these people who are part of this terrible conspiracy. Tip of my hat to all of y'all, and thank you so much for helping seek justice for America and in the galaxy. So, and the Star Wars universe, even a long time ago. So to make sure everything's presented in a good, positive way. So thanks, and y'all have a great day.